Hello everyone. I'm Nikhil Vaidya, third year UG student from the Department of Metallurgical Engineering and Material Science. I was the Pro-Night Score Group member of Mood Indigo 2017. I have been associated with the festival for the last 2 years in various capacities. I've observed this festival for the last 2 years, and I see a plethora of opportunities in front of a festival of this scale. My manifesto is focused towards building upon unique events, brand value, publicity, and visitor experience. If given a chance to become the overall coordinator for Mood Indigo 2018, I propose to do the following. I will push for an increase in the number of international events at the festival from diverse cultural backgrounds to further enhance its reputation as the most unique offering of culture from all around the world. The focus will be on the events having a higher novelty factor over popular events, which will improve the take-back value of the visitors. To further enhance crowd experience, I propose to increase in the number of street events and fringe acts. As regards to community engagement within the institute, I will push for regular small-scale events and competitions for the institute crowd. I will also try and give special privileges to IIT Bombay crowds in events and concerts during the festival. For publicity, the aim will be to try and reach out to a national level, on the national level to the target crowd, while enhancing Mood Indigo's presence in areas where it is not renowned. Mass media will be heavily targeted via marketing deals to give the festival the publicity it deserves. Apart from mass media and social media, however, I will ensure first-hand engagement of our target audience via several on-ground events throughout the tenure, with an aim to improve the visitor experience and the hospitality and services that we offer. I will strive to ensure the presence of basic amenities like portable toilets, cloakrooms at various venues throughout the institute, and I will push to set up assistance desk at venues of high crowd density such as the main gate, convocation hall, PCSA, etc. I will try and revamp the pass distribution policy to ensure a smoother and hassle-free experience for the visitors. I will also try and set up direction systems at major venues and locations at the institute to ensure proper crowd flow. Finally, as regards of the security, I will ensure a hotline facility for emergency situations that arise for IIT Bombay students. I will try and ensure a better crowd flow to the concert venues by improvising on the existing security plan. A strict check will be kept upon the sound levels to avoid any sort of inconvenience to the campus residents during the festival. I will strive to ensure that Mood Indigo 2018 would be a memorable experience for the artists, visitors, and the institute crowd.
Hello everyone, I'm Sanket Agarwal, third year undergraduate from Electrical Engineering Department and currently the Marketing Co-Group member of Mood Indigo. I'm contesting for the position of Overall Coordinator Mood Indigo 2018. Having been actively involved in the fest since I stayed at IIT Bombay, I've seen the working of it very closely and if given a chance to become Overall Coordinator of Mood Indigo 2018, I envision the coming edition of Mood Indigo in the following way. I've emphasized a lot on the publicity and outreach of the festival and the festive feeling in my manifesto. The focus will be on improving visitor experience, which will improve the take-back value of the visitor. To further enhance crowd experience, I plan to increase the number of do-it-yourself workshops, interactive ambient installations, and small informal events or activities on streets to make the festival more lively. To reach out to the relevant target crowd, I'll actively explore associating with popular critics and established bloggers. More emphasis to be laid on coverage by media bodies and mass media to reach out to the youth crowd. I'll also push for pre-fest events at popular locations in the city to ensure pre-fest publicity campaign. As one of the most influential youth organizations in India, I'll make sure that Mood Indigo does its bit for society by actively taking up a social cause and working towards it for the whole year. For publicity, the aim will be to try and reach out on a national level to the target crowd. Dynamic form of media and the current trend of media will be explored to reach out to the crowd in a better way. Apart from mass media and social media, I'll ensure first-hand engagement of a target audience by several on-ground events for the tenure. Coming to hospitality and assistance at the festival, I plan to introduce a token system to facilitate easier procedure to give accommodation for the students coming from outside. Apart from this, I'll lay special emphasis on proper direction system, visitor information, and I'll make sure that basic amenities like water, toilets, and first aid are available at all the venues inside the campus. Security inside the campus will be strictly overseen, especially in the dark areas of the campus at the night. I'll ensure a proper queue management for the featured pro shows to avoid rush and stampede-like situations. One of the key features of our manifesto would be to provide a good learning experience for the workforce involved. several informal sessions, and key workshops by professionals for the workforce. Example, design and workshops will be conducted throughout the year. This is a special focus for us to ensure that everyone who comes to visit Indigo, be a visitor or be a part of the workforce, makes memories and takes a lot of experience from it. Thank you.
Okay, so first question, the point from Nichol's manifesto, second page, security point first. So introducing a facility of hotline number. So actually, the institute is working on this, and some of professors have already developed that. So what is your plan of action? From how many people have you done groundwork regarding this?
So actually, regarding this, I talked to the security core group members from the last year as well as the hospitality, the people who took under the hospitality for the last year. The basic problem here is that many a times situations that arise between the accommodation crowd and
No,
the
so what is your plan of action?
So I mean there would be a hotline, which will be placed at the hospitality desk, which will be a 24/7 active line. Where actually if there is any situation out there, then IITP students can give a direct call on that number, and our team can report to that
One
person.
clarification. So only one people will be handling it.
No, I mean there will be a dedicated workforce. I mean there will be shifts where people will be handling that number.
Are you going to use any software?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the tech space can obviously be explored onto that, but again, it depends upon the integrations that we develop and essentially the software
So
that we
are you aware of that?
can choose not to answer that, only to rebut your question.
These were clarifications. So, are you aware that abuser is already doing this with someone in the institute?
I haven't talked.
So I have a question. Under brand building, third point, Sanket has written that he plans to provide winners and international LYPs as well. So do you think winners will have time for international LYPs given our participants are college students?
So yeah, the time can be managed out. The deadline of the LYP will not be hard and fast. It can be so if we give them an LYP, and then you can pursue the LYP in the next year. Let's say for the writing competition, if someone is given given an article in the London magazine, so we can be given a time period of two months to write the article, to pen it down, and submit to us. For LYPs like video shooting or singing, if we have a studio course, if we have a musical course, we can schedule it in summers so that people who are free time in summers can pursue it.
So performing arts LYPs you do not plan to provide it international because they'll have to go there and learn about those genres.
So international LYP does not necessarily mean that you have to go abroad. If the chance to go abroad during the summer, during the free time, the college it will be something better for them. But there are international brands who can come here, international LYPs, the organizations can come here and shoot for the performing arts people.
So organizations would come here for their
A team belonging to the organization.
My question is to Nikhil. Under security section, you have written will have strict cap on sound levels to ensure minimum hassle to the campus residents. Please let us know what is the allowed sound level and what measures you have in mind to tackle this problem.
The allowed sound levels as of now is 75 decibels outside the boundary of the venue. But essentially, what happens is my idea for maintaining strict caps on these would be to set there will be a security team that will be formed for this venture. Security teams will go around at venues before the festival begins on the day zero of the festival, which is essentially 1 day before the festival begins. They'll set up proper sound levels, and these sound levels will be monitored and recorded. And any discrepancy above these sound levels observed any time during the festival, the sound will be essentially reduced, and there would be chance that the sound will be cut down. So essentially, the limits that we are placing on the upper cap are being monitored by the security team, and any divergence from these limits would again lead to maybe cancellation of the event as well. So basically, there will be a strict cap on the sound level.
Sometimes artists get their own sound engineers and they do not agree to the limit of 75 decibel outside the boundary rate because the internationally accepted limit is 110 decibels. So how will you coordinate that with the artist? Will you tell them the sound level beforehand or you tell them during the day of event?
So generally, when we go about signing an artist at Indigo, we follow strict procedures where we will have to sign a proper contract with the artist. So essentially, it will be maintained by our team while signing any of the artists that the deadline, the security measures have to be 75 decibel outside the venue. So it will be specifically mentioned in the MOU of the act that we've signed at the institute. Plus again, if any on-ground problems arise, then the PA systems are obviously into our hands. So PA systems and basically can be managed even if the sound engineer is not from the institute.
Just a clarification on the monitoring which you said. On day zero, you told that the security will be going and setting up certain devices and all that. So you're setting up live monitoring devices at venues. Is it that or something else?
Live monitoring devices are obviously there at the venue with the sound engineers. Essentially, they anyways have their sound
That's
meter
from the
and
artist
their-
side, right?
No, that is from our vendor side.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, vendors get in their sound equipment, wherein they essentially have sound meters at their place and establish that various locations inside the venue.
Okay, so regarding this, the mail was sent by DSA on student notice. First of all, are you aware that this thing was taken care by this team? If yes, then what were the problems? And if no, then we can.
Yeah, yes, there were problems this year as well. We tried to maintain the level at 75, but what was happening was because of the artist demands, the artists got their own sound engineer and the sound levels were increased during the program and were essentially fluctuating above and below the sound level. So this time around, we'll maintain a strict policy that any artist that is coming down to Mood Indigo has to be informed and contracted about the fact that the sound cannot go above 75 decibels. So essentially, it is up into our hands to not allow the sound engineer to handle the sound levels above 75 decibels.
One last question.
Request the panel to move on to another question. In minutes have elapsed.
Sorry, one last question, please. Yeah. So, obviously, you told that it has been in the contract since a long time, 75 decibels. Last year it was there in the contract, signing contract with the artist.
That wasn't there.
It wasn't there in the movie last.
No.
You just told that.
No, I mean, we told that we had agreed with the institute that we'll maintain the sound level of 75, but essentially when we contracted the artist, we did not mention about the sound levels, and essentially when the artist came on ground with their own sound engineers, then there was observed that the sound levels were fluctuating because of the artists, sound engineers manipulating the sound levels.
So basically, you'll just put that in the.
Yeah.
Next question is for Nikhil. You mentioned in institute involvement that I will push for small scale events, competitions during the semester to engage general institute community. I'd want you to answer on three aspects in this. The first, what is the purpose of, what is the need or purpose of conducting such events? Second, what kind of events you're talking about? And third, the timeline. When will you have?
So generally it has been observed that institute students, basically Mood Indigo has a LYB program wherein we essentially tie up with the professional institutions outside the institute, and they are very enthusiastic about conducting various on-ground workshops or events which are basically conducted by the professionals at their institute. For example, we had an association with this year with the True School of Music, which is the premier technical institution, music institution in the city, and they were very enthusiastic about conducting a workshop which essentially could not happen. So what I would want is we could do these events or conduct these events in association with the Institute Cultural Council, so that the participants that are prepping for the inter-IIT culturals also get benefit from having such kind of workshop, professional workshops by professionally trained technicians as well as musicians. So they are benefited out of these. So it's a win-win situation for both of us, for both of the bodies. Again, there will be informal sessions as well with the freshman crowd towards the end of the semester to get them associated with Mood Indigo, and again it would be to develop interaction between freshmen towards the end of the semester, and the general timeline that we generally have in mind is after basically we have our freshman orientation, and post the orientation we can schedule a small workshop or maybe a interactive session by a professional.
Okay, so just to reiterate, it's two things. First is collaborating with a renowned academy, probably in terms of music. Second is workshops for freshmen.
Yeah. Not just freshmen, I mean, it could be open workshops. Yeah.
So for collaborations, apart from music, obviously it was there this year, but have you contacted certain academies or associations or professionals which would come here or guide our contingent, inter-IIT contingent, cult contingent for their benefits?
Yeah, I mean, like we have competitions in all of the genres that probably our contingent trains for inter-IIT. So in all of these genres, we have major Live Your Passion partners, which are professional institutions like we had NCTA and other lit institutions as well. So basically, we can just transform the MOU into having a workshop beforehand as well as during the festival, so that having a workshop beforehand in most of the genres like lit, maybe writing skill, speaking skill workshop, or maybe a session in movie making, which can essentially benefit the teams that are prepping for inter.
So you are saying that you will plan a workshop in which basically you will teach regarding various cultural genres, right?
Yeah.
Like music and all. How it is different from what cultural council is doing, and are you aware of that cultural council is already working on this, and even they are planning to propose the credit-based courses with the planning with IDC. Are you aware of these things? If yes, then why have you written this?
Yes, I am aware about that, but essentially, it's one of the aspects of that was having workshops, and again, if there are two bodies out there in the institute, ICC and Mood Indigo, which are working towards which basically are doing the same thing, I guess collaborating and associating could essentially end up having better workshops and better professionals at the institute and eventually help in better teams.
You have written under hospitality and sustainability, they emphasis on changing the past institution policy. Can you tell me how you plan to revamp the past institution policy? What will be the new policy?
So basically, first of all, revamping the past distribution policy would also involve making people aware about how the policy is. So basically, as of now, passes are only distributed from the hospitality desk, and essentially people coming after 12 p.m. essentially do not get access to these passes because the passes generally get over in the morning in the first hour of its distribution. So first of all, I plan to organize a proper distribution plan in which we'll be slotting the total number of passes distributed into each slot. So there will be some passes distributed in the morning and some passes will be available in the afternoon as well. So which means that people coming late to the institute can get access to these passes as well. Again, the information about the distribution of these passes would be made public onto the registration booklets and on the website, which means that people are aware about when and where exactly the passes are going to be distributed.
Okay, sir, I have two questions. First of all, you said the past distribution finishes at 12 p.m. It does not happen for every night, it happens because it happens depending on your night, right? The second thing is, let's say you have slotted in some number of passes from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So the queue for that will start doing up at 2 p.m. only, or how will you coordinate it? Will you coordinate with it? Because then your SAC will be filled up at all times if you plan to hand out passes from SAC.
Can you please repeat it?
If you have slotted in number of passes for particular slot and timings, how do you plan on queuing up? Basically, queue will be set up for collecting those passes. Now, when will you allow people queuing up? If they need passes at 3 p.m., they won't be standing from 10 a.m. Or would you be allowing them to stand from 10 a.m.? If they are standing from 10 a.m., wouldn't that clutter your SAC and all?
No, essentially, basically, as in the current system, basically we allow passes to be distributed from 10:30 or 11 a.m. in the morning from the site. So what will happen now onwards is that even there will be a gap for people starting the queues. Basically, for a pass being distributed from 3 p.m. onwards, the queue can only start at 2:30 p.m. And again, there will be events out there in the SAC for people to cater to. So if people are willing to come down early in order to be in the queue for the passes, they can enjoy the events that are happening in the SAC as well as in the way.
What if people are queuing up from 2 p.m.? Would you be having security there to get them over?
I mean, there will be proper management of the queue by the security. And as I said, there will be events out there wherein people, there will be a hospitality lounge wherein actually there will be games and informal activities for people who want to queue up. And there will be total, again, there will be cap on the total number of people queuing up.
I think a question. Next question to Sanket. I think it's to both of you, but I'd like Sanket to answer first. Point in institute involvement, last point. I'll ensure that ITV students are given benefits and queues and passes during the festival. So, in terms of the ideal situation, this is fine, right? The issue which is certainly that the students at IIT Bombay don't feel like they have equal opportunity or let's say enough passes or enough privilege being an ITV student to attend this. I think that's the reason the point is there. So first, what are the problems right now? which you're going to resolve? Second, what is the exact plan? Like, what all benefits are you talking about giving to the students? Like on the practical answer.
So the current problems that we usually address that they don't get enough chance in the informal events. Like we must be knowing that they have adventure zone in KV ground. So the IT students don't get to enjoy the adventure zone not enough because of the outside crowd that we have. This happens in some of the events also. So these are the places where the IT students face a lot of problem. So what I envision is, so I'll keep a 1 hour, one or 2 hour depending on the amount of crowd, reserve time each and every day, a slot every day. So that will be only applicable for ITV students. They will come and please for the slot and enjoy those events. So that's the benefit I'm talking about.
And in terms of passes during the concerts and all?
Yeah. So
distribution and entry gates, both of these. Distribution as in like ITV students have entitlement to another pass, guest pass against their ID card. So first issue here is entering as an ITV student with the identity card. There's a long queue and obviously there's less privilege that they should get. How are you going to solve that? Second would be distribution of additional guest passes.
So coming to the first point, that we're talking about the long queue that we have. So you must be aware that we maintain a separate queue for the ITV students, and we cannot differentiate that queue anymore for the ITV student. We can just ensure a shorter entry for them. So that's the thing I'll be pushing for. There's some security concern which still needs to look over, that is not stamped enough and the people don't cross lines. So those are things that are still to be looked after. But ensuring a different line and a smoother and a shorter line for the ITV students in the Gymkhana grounds during the Pro Nights and Gymkhana grounds. So that's the thing I'll be pushing for to give a special privilege to ITV students. And regarding the pass system,
Separate line already exists.
yes.
That's all. What else are you going to do? That's all my question.
Yeah, separate line already exists, but again, it tends to merge at a point with the common line at the entry point. So it tends to merge with the common line at the entry point when you go into the Gymkhana ground. So I'll be pushing for separate areas of security check for ITV students, and they get a smoother entry in the grounds.
Passes.
And passes. So as for the passes, they're already entitled to one pass on the ID card. The problem is that they again have to stand in the common line to get the passes on their ID card. So I'll be pushing for a separate slot for just the ITV students only, so they can get the passing easily.
Fine. Just one feedback. Like your plan is good, your vision is good, but it would be great to see if there is a practical aspect to it, like lines and all, how to manage lines efficiently, talking to the security section that you said. Some practical aspects to it.
My question is to Sanket. You have written that you promote events with high novelty factor. What events do you have in mind for it?
So the events that we currently have in mind, are the nut tracker stall that we have. The nut tracker stall that we have. So it was ideal last year, but due to some problem with the resources, it was scrapped. But again, so these events already exist, and these events are still yet to come in India, and they can be of high novelty factor. So these are the events that I plan to execute at Mood Indigo.
You also plan to refine the flagship competition. What is the need for that, and what plan do you have in mind for that?
So currently the flagship competition that we have, so Mood Indigo with the trend set, everyone has copied the flagship competition, and the trend is seeing that it's the effect of the flagship competition, the effect of the libraries that we had is getting normalized among India. So the plan that I have is to introduce more libraries in those flagship competitions, and to ensure that the students who come here, they don't just participate in the competition as raw talent, but they get mentored by some professional. So that's the refinement I'm talking about.
You told about the advices, not the competitions. How are you going to revamp the flagship competitions? Given in each honor, I think already one flagship competition exists.
Do you have some new things in mind for new flagship competitions, or what are you going to change in the existing structure?
We have some new genres in mind where we can introduce competition and make any one of them the flagship or already existing flagship company. How do you plan to refine that?
So,
for example, Mantra.
So as I told you that when the students come here, they enter as raw talent. So what I plan is I'll before coming to Mood Indigo, before performing to Mood Indigo, I'll ensure that they get proper mentorship from professional in the industry, so they can refine their talent more and perform and give a better performance in the Mood Indigo. And as talking about the new flagship competition, so we already have a competition called Humorous, which is a stand-up comedy competition. And as we can see the stand-up comedy as at a boom. So we can refine this competition again, providing better LYPs and increasing the skill of the competition, providing better incentives to the participants. It can come as a standalone thing for Mood Indigo.
Last question from the panel.
When security have written that you will conduct detailed run-through of the workforce of the security team, what plans do you have in mind to make sure that whatever the security plans are laid out, it does not create hassle for the institute people? Because in general, when the institute people comes inside the IT during the time of the concert, they cannot take their autos from main gate to all these places. So how do you plan on taking the feedback from the institute people as to how the security should be laid out so that they don't face any problems during the concert?
So, as per the point you're talking about it's about the run through the workforce. But yeah, you extend it to the institute also. So,
you need the feedback.
yeah. So, first of all, coming to the run throughs, I'll ensure that the security people are properly involved. The proper recce of the workforce. So, they know about each and every venue, what are security constraints at the venue, and they can directly institute people accordingly. As for disseminating the information, there will be separate booklets. I'll be pushing for separate booklets for the security information for like what are do's and don'ts that are there during Mood Indigo, and also place some banner standees that disseminate the information regarding this.
The two things. First of all, booklets is a very redundant idea because you can send out mails to the detail of the institute people. The second thing, my question was not to disseminate the information, but while laying out the security plan, how do you plan to take the opinions and the views of the institute people as well, so that they don't face any problems? So, if you send out a mail and say these are the security norms you will have to follow, they will follow. But how about incorporating their ideas as well, so that they don't face any problems during the security norms that are finally decided between you and the authorities of this institute?
So, as for getting the feedback from the institute, so we do have like core group members, coordinators, and organizers from the campus. We can have these coordinators contact the hostels and the wings together, because it's not possible to compile all the feedbacks through a common sheet. That will be a lot of redundant work, and again a lot of effort which will not come fruitful at the right time, because we need to lay the security plans as early as possible. So I'll push that the workforce goes to their wings and their friends, take the feedback from them, so there's a decentralized system of feedback, and these all feedback will be compiled by their respective core group members and submitted to us.
So we'll now move on to part 3, that is the question and answers round from the audience. Now there will be a maximum of 5 questions.
In closing, I would like to say that I would leave no stone unturned in working towards making Mood Indigo 2018 the grandest edition ever, and make sure that it is a great experience for everyone from the visitors to the workforce.
So as I've mentioned in the manifesto, the major point have always been the artist and the visitor experience and unique events taking place at the festival. If I do get a chance to become the overall coordinator of Mood Indigo 2018, I will strive to further increase its brand value, the crowd experience, and ensure a good learning curve for the team involved, towards which all the points in my manifesto again are focused towards the same, and will ensure that 2018 edition of Mood Indigo outdoes its previous editions by a fair margin.
That's it for the soapbox of overall coordinator of Mood Indigo 2018.